Hey guys, I'm back out where I was the other morning. I'm basically going to backtrack more or less the route out that I took because I saw so much sign along that route. So right now the wind's in a perfect angle, basically more or less right in my face. It's about 30 degrees out, kind of a chilly, kind of overcast day. But from what I've been seeing the last few evenings, the deer are really getting active in late, kind of in the late afternoon. So let's see what happens. I'm basically gonna more or less follow my reverse route in. I'm at least gonna go in as far as the spot where I'd kind of set up and ate lunch last time. So we'll see what happens. Okay guys, I'm back in. A couple hundred yards away from where I had lunch the other day, which is right on the back, kind of over here. I think what I'm gonna do is, I went back and watched the footage, and those bucks that I saw, they were different bucks. I thought they were all the same buck, but after watching it more closely on video and zooming in and really studying it, they were different bucks. So all three of them were basically this point right here. They were all within that area right over there at different times. Now that was closer to daybreak, and they were more active then, which is normal. And the other time when they're usually more active would be at the end of the day. And so what I think I'm going to do, actually, rather than go back to that spot, that spot where I was headed does put me in a good position in case I see anything over here. But it completely, it's basically putting all my eggs in one basket. And so what I think I'm going to do is actually drop down and cross this valley and go up the other side there, so that I'm on that point, and at least then I'll be a little more centrally located. Because what I think is going on is the bucks are hiding way in the back, and they come forward because this is the area. You always see does up here. Very rarely do I see bucks, but I always see lots of does. And I think what happens is, at daybreak, or at the end of the day, the bucks move this way out of that back area. So, excuse me, I'm gonna start heading that way, I think, and see if I can get them in a position, probably on this east side, so that way I can hopefully see majority of that ridge over there, in case at the end of the day anything wants to move. I've still got about 3 hours left in the day, so we'll see what happens. Alright guys, I'm in the bottom of the valley. Just gotta cross some stuff over here. I'll kind of weave my way around. I'm gonna go up the side of this hill over here. So far it is as quiet as a graveyard out here, but I know better than to assume there's nothing out here. So you can kind of see by the terrain. This is why I like this little 6.5 Grendel rifle. There's a point over here. Sorry about my big finger. It's about 280 yards. And so you can see right now there's nothing further away hardly than that. So for me, when I'm gonna be back in terrain like this, there's no point in carrying a big long barreled rifle that I can shoot 800 yards with, because I'm not gonna get a shot that far away anyways once I get down in this something lightweight and compact so I can get through these trees and bushes easier without snagging up all the time. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go up the hill. I think when I get up there, I'm gonna follow just below the top of the ridge all the way over, staying in the trees. And I know up off there, there's a bunch of brush and stuff, and I think that's where I'm gonna head for, to see what's moving on the backside over there. Alright guys, I'm almost up. The most difficult part of this little climb, which hasn't been that bad. Saw lots of elk. Saw lots of elk and deer, buck tracks coming up the same trail. That's the route I came down, around and up. So definitely seeing lots of good sign over here. Okay guys, I'm up at the top. And I came out a little more to the east. On the north. I came out a little more to the north of these trees than what I was planning originally, but I just followed a trail that was already here and it had lots of sign on it, elk and deer, so it just kind of came up from, get my fat finger out of the way, came up right in there, so I'm going to keep following it, headed that way. That saddle over there, right up there, that's where I ate lunch the other day. The sun's starting to peek out, so that's exciting. Okay guys, I'm up at the top. And you can see that's the valley we came through. I'm pretty much back up at the same elevation that I was before. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here for a little bit and take a break, grab a snack and drink some water. I've got some good concealment here, and I'm in a good spot where I can kind of watch this whole valley for a while. And kind of just take a break for a little bit, and then I'll continue on the other direction up this way to see what I can see. Okay guys, I've been sitting here for about 15 minutes or so. Haven't seen much. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my backpack on. And I was studying the map, and it looks like if I stayed about this same elevation, I can stay kind of in these trees. And so I'm gonna continue on to the north around this, and it's a big point that goes out. And there's some smaller draws that come up the sides of it. So I'm gonna try and stay at this elevation and work my way around, which we're at a good elevation because we're still down off the crest of the hill, so we wouldn't be skylining ourselves too badly. So yeah, see how that works. Okay guys, right in the center of the screen, there's a 4x4 buck and a doe. Just came out to have a little dinner date. And of course, they are way on the other side of the valley. It's about a 478 yard distance from here. Puts a little bit out of, just a hair out of reach on this 6.5 Grendel. But if I can drop down, if I can get down the valley and across the other side, and hopefully they don't move. If I can get in over amongst these trees, I drop down across the valley, then I think it'll be about a 300 yard shot to where they're at, if I can get over there quick enough. Okay. See the buck and the doe still hanging out over there. Come down about half the distance. So right now I'm just taking a kind of a rough bearing on how I'm going to get across over there. I think I'm going to drop down in these trees, hook over, concealment to get into a firing position. Alright guys, I'm across the valley in about record time. Surprised I didn't kill myself getting down that cliff like a kid at Christmas. Alright, I'm gonna catch my breath down in this draw, work my way up, and my firing position's about 100 yards that way, kind of even with those trees up there. So we'll see if I can get up there and put a shot on that buck. Alright guys, I'm gonna get up in those trees here and start seeing if I can get a shot. So I'm gonna drop my pack here so I don't have it banging on trees and shit. I'm just gonna take my line 2 gear. Alright, so I like being able to drop my gear so I can streamline when I need to. Okay guys, I got up here. I pretty much had to get down on my belly because he was up high and he was looking right in this general direction. I don't think he was looking at me, but I didn't feel comfortable trying to set up my tripod and everything to film. So I do apologize for that, but I put 2 rounds into him. Right, and you can see his head right there. He moved about 20 yards and he's just laid down in the brush. So I'm gonna keep an eye on him for a while and we'll see how it goes. I'm pretty sure I saw blood, so he's probably just waiting to expire here. Okay guys, I'm headed back to grab my pack before it gets too dark. The buck's definitely down. He was kind of sitting there for a while and I thought maybe I made a bad shot, so I did put 1 more into him. Definitely made sure it was a damn good shot, and he pretty much laid over right after that. So go back, grab my pack, and then I'm gonna circle around the backside of this hill and start heading towards him. Okay, I'm back at my pack. As you can tell, the sun's going down, so this is going to be a night out before too long. So I'm going to bust out my headlamp real quick, make sure it's working and accessible. And then I'm actually going to head up through that saddle, which is the same saddle that I ate lunch at the last time. So yeah, that was my original destination. Today I was going to come up and sit in that saddle and actually watch that hillside, and instead I went on the back side of that hill, dropped down through the valley, came up the other side, and I was right about over there when I happened to look all the way across and see that buck and doe playing on the hillside. So worked out really well. Did basically a massive button hook, and I think had I gone for my original plan, I may have spooked that buck out. So I'm kind of glad I button hooked on him. So yeah, I'm gonna head over. Okay guys, so I want to apologize, especially if you've watched every one of the videos in this series, that I was not able to film a very good conclusion. There's a lot of prep work that goes into creating an opportunity, and sometimes when that opportunity presents itself, you have to act quickly. And so, sadly, working by myself, I didn't have a cameraman or anything to help me. So, going back prior to the shot, I just want to go over some things chronologically here. When I get up to the hilltop, I get up to those trees, I've got my rifle, and I know the last time I saw the deer where he was, and he was about halfway up that hillside. When I got up to the firing position, the deer had moved considerably lower, and by the time not only that, he was looking up in my direction, and I don't know if that was because he heard or saw or smelled me. I don't think so. I think he just happened to be, he was just moving in my direction. He was moving downhill, but he was facing towards me, and so I had to be very careful. Now, luckily, I had the sun behind me, and that was hopefully blinding him. but it was getting darker. I'm running out of shooting light, and not only that, but the deer's only 5 or 10 feet away. If he moves forward another 5 or 10 feet, he's going to disappear out of view, and I'm going to have to move my firing position again. And I'm already at essentially the crest of this little ridge line that I'm on. And now that means I'm going to be laying facing downhill. So long story short, I need to make this shot happen soon. And I've just busted going downhill, hauled butt going down that valley and back up the other side. And I would have loved an extra minute to just catch my breath and really make sure I had a good solid shooting position. But the animal was moving, and he was kind of faced towards me, and definitely kind of looked like he was getting ready to move down and out of sight. And so I waited as long as I could. Of course, I also studied him a little bit. Like I've said in previous videos, I wanted to shoot a mature buck. And from studying him through the scope, I felt that this definitely was a mature buck. So I was happy about that. This one's, okay, he fits that criteria. I got my binos out, ranged him. I think it was around 250 yards to where the animal was. And he was basically standing facing me, but also facing downhill. So I had a very poor, really no shot, honestly. And the other thing I was doing was I was trying to make a wind call. I think in some of the videos when I got up higher on those valley sides, you can hear the wind. And I estimated a full value 10 mile an hour wind. And if I remember right, I think it was pretty close to a mil, maybe 0.8 of a mil. So I dial that in the scope. And essentially I'm just working on getting into as good of a shooting position as I can. And he's facing downhill, and honestly, I didn't think I was going to get a shot on him because of the route he was, there was kind of a deer trail going down the hill. I could tell he was following that. And at the last, really, any later, and I don't know if I could have got him, but he stopped, turns, broadside to me for a couple seconds, and then takes a step, and that's about when I fire. And that first round hits him. Later, after I skinned him out, I'm pretty sure it hit him kind of right behind the last ribs. And I'm not proud of that shot. It was elevation-wise, it was good. But I dialed too much for wind, plus with him taking a step forward right when I shot, I feel like those combinations, plus my own probably crappy shooting because I was in a rush, stressing about not being able to make a shot, and also still trying to catch my breath from, climbing up that valley. It literally took me less than 5 minutes to cross that valley. So anyways, with all those factored in, the shot was less than ideal, like I said. And after the first round hits him, he moves about 20 yards and lays down. And I watch him. I can see the blood on his side. I can tell that I've hit him just a little too far back. So now he's not moving. I basically cut my wind call in half, which I should have known to do that because I'm up high at the time. If I have a 10 mile an hour wind, it's probably not going to be near that, if any, down where he's at. And so I should have cut that in half, but I didn't. So I do on the second shot, make sure I have a good natural point of aim, and that round strikes him solidly right in the vitals, right in the lungs where I was aiming or wanting to hit him. So from there, once I was confident that he was hit and I knew he would die, that's the crappy thing about it is you want to make that one-shot kill mainly to reduce the animal's suffering. That's why I'm least proud of those shots, is because of that. And so I put the second round in, make sure it's the best I could do, and I felt it was a very solid shot. I watched him for a second. He wasn't going anywhere, so I thought. So I get up, and that's when I made the video updates on grabbing my pack. I get my pack. I head up through the saddle where I ate lunch, like I said, kind of circle around the backside of the hill, and the sun's going down fast. It's getting dark. And I kind of go around the backside of this hill because I had to go around the backside. I didn't want to go around the front side that faced the buck because I really wanted to give him time to expire. I didn't want to spook him and get him scared and running and everything. I just really wanted him to lay down and hopefully go peacefully. And so I'm circling around the backside of the hill, and when I get to the area where I can see where the deer was laying, and I actually took a photo of him laying there with my phone so that I could reference it later. He was gone. And I'm going, oh my gosh, sun's going down. It's nearly, in 10 minutes or so, it's going to be getting on to dark. So luckily I found a nice trail, deer trail going down through the trees so I could quickly get down through the valley because I had to cross another valley to get over to where he was. And I knew that usually the wounded animals they always want to go downhill. So since I was in the bottom, and they usually want to find cover when they're gonna die. So I started working my way up, clearing kind of methodically around all these trees, all these juniper trees, and I get up pretty close to where he was, and as I come around, I'm clearing around a cluster of these juniper trees, and then I see him, and he actually lifts his head and looks at me, and it was kind of that look of like, he was basically in the spirit world at that point. I mean, he was on his way out, but I honestly felt it was the right thing to do to put one more round into him and speed that process along. So at about 25 yards, that's what I did. He instantly laid over, and that was it. I backed off a little bit just to hopefully give him any more time. And this was a particularly large deer, very heavy set deer, so it's not surprising to me that he was that tough. So, back when I was picking up my pack, I shot a text out to my wife and to a buddy of mine just saying, hey, I got a buck down. I'm not going to be home before dark or, around dark like I thought. It's going to be longer. And my buddy was actually just heading out to go hunting himself, kind of up in that area. And he says, well, hey, I'll just come help you. And I said, cool. So, I sent him a pin on where I was. And a short while later, he came in with his dad and his son. He's about 5. And they came in with a deer cart, actually. I was planning on quartering the deer and packing him out, but with the extra help, we just gutted him and loaded it on the deer cart. And the short distance route was so steep that we ended up working our way back about 3/4 of a mile up this valley. And, the process of moving this animal with a deer cart with a team of guys in the dark and kind of trying to pick our way through the terrain the best we could, it brought back a lot of memories of CASEVAC training and other CASEVAC situations that I've done at night. And it just, the need for teamwork and good communication and stress management. It was 20 some degrees. My friend's 5-year-old son, while he was having a lot of fun at the beginning, now they've been out there for a while. He's getting cold, so my buddy's having to manage that stress. We're also trying to navigate our way out. We're trying to navigate our way out, pick the best route in the terrain to try and manage his cart through. My headlamp batteries started to die, so there's just a lot of things to deal with, after the animal was down. But having a good team of guys and having good communication and teamwork and being able to function at night, is really a great test also. So that kind of sums up my concluding thoughts there. Like I said, I'm not proud of the shooting side of it. I know that there's a few things I want to improve on in my training for this next year, including doing more high angle shooting under stress, and also continue on with my training regimen. I changed that after my snowshoe trip that I wrote about. I was really focused on strength training at that point, and my cardio was really lacking. And so I've really basically flipped that. I bike 30 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week. And I can tell you that's made such a significant difference in my hiking and everything else. So that's definitely going to be staying. I do want to add in some more strength training, but I got to have that cardio for the kind of stuff I like to do. And so, anyways, if you've been watching and made it through this video and all the other ones, I really appreciate you watching, and I'd love to hear what you think. Please check out my blog at badlandsfieldcraft.wordpress.com, and have a good day.